A world engulfed. The outbreak of global conflict. The year 1939 marked a turning point in human history. On September 1st, the armies of Nazi Germany, led by Adolf Hitler, invaded Poland. This act of aggression shattered the fragile peace that had followed World War I, plunging the world into a conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation. World War II. Over the next 6 years, this global conflict would engulf nations across continents, leaving an indelible mark on the 20th century and beyond. From the beaches of Normandy to the deserts of North Africa, from the frozen Eastern Front to the islands of the Pacific, the battlefields of World War II witnessed unimaginable brutality and sacrifice. Millions of soldiers and civilians alike perished in the fighting, victims of a conflict that tested the very limits of human endurance. The war's impact extended far beyond the battlefield, reshaping the political and social landscape of the world. The horrors of the Holocaust, orchestrated by the Nazi regime, revealed the depths of human cruelty and served as a stark warning against the dangers of intolerance and hatred. This essay will delve into the history of World War II, exploring its causes, key events, and lasting consequences. By understanding this pivotal chapter in human history, we can learn from the mistakes of the past and strive to create a more peaceful and just future. Seeds of war, the path to global confrontation. The journey to the most devastating conflict in human history began long before the first shots were fired. The roots of World War II can be traced back to the aftermath of World War I. The Great War, as it was known, left Europe in ruins and its people in despair. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war but sowed the seeds for future conflict. The treaty imposed severe penalties and restrictions on Germany, aiming to prevent any future aggression. Germany, held responsible for the war's outbreak, was subjected to harsh reparations and territorial losses. These measures crippled the German economy and humiliated its people. This fueled resentment and instability within German society, creating fertile ground for extremist ideologies to take root. The Weimar Republic, Germany's fragile democracy, struggled to maintain order amidst economic hardship and political chaos. The rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in Germany during the 1930s marked a turning point on the path to war. Hitler, a charismatic orator, capitalized on the nation's discontent. Hitler's ideology, a toxic mix of nationalism, militarism, and anti-Semitism, found a receptive audience in a nation grappling with economic depression and political turmoil. His promises of economic revival and national rejuvenation resonated deeply with the German populace. He promised to restore Germany to its former glory, exploiting widespread grievances to consolidate power and expand his influence. Through propaganda and political maneuvering, Hitler dismantled democratic institutions and established a totalitarian regime. As Hitler's grip on Germany tightened, he embarked on a series of aggressive foreign policy moves, violating the terms of the Treaty of Versailles and challenging the established world order. His rearmament of Germany and territorial expansions went largely unchecked. The League of Nations, formed after World War I to prevent future conflicts, proved powerless to stop him. Its inability to enforce its resolutions and the lack of commitment from major powers rendered it ineffective. Its member states, hesitant to confront Hitler's growing might, adopted a policy of appeasement, hoping to avoid another devastating war. British and French leaders, haunted by the memories of World War I, were reluctant to engage in another conflict. However, Hitler's ambitions knew no bounds. His vision of a greater Germany and a new world order drove him to pursue increasingly bold and aggressive actions. The invasion of Poland in 1939 shattered any illusions of peace, prompting Great Britain and France to declare war on Germany. This marked the beginning of a global conflict that would engulf nations and continents. The world was once again at war, a conflict that would escalate into the deadliest in human history. The path to global confrontation was paved with the failures of diplomacy, the rise of totalitarian regimes, and the unquenchable thirst for power. Clash of Titans, defining battles of World War II. This monumental conflict saw some of the most intense and strategically significant battles in human history. World War II was a global conflict fought across vast distances and diverse terrains. It spanned continents and involved nations from every corner of the globe, making it a truly worldwide war. From the icy plains of Eastern Europe to the sweltering jungles of Southeast Asia, millions of soldiers clashed in battles that would decide the fate of nations. These environments tested the limits of human endurance and military strategy. These battles, marked by their scale, ferocity, and strategic significance, left an enduring legacy on military history and the course of the 20th century. They reshaped borders, influenced political landscapes, and changed the lives of countless individuals. One such battle was the Battle of Stalingrad, fought between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union from August 1942 to February 1943. This battle is often cited as one of the deadliest and most brutal confrontations in the history of warfare. This brutal, months-long engagement, fought in the ruins of the strategically important city of Stalingrad, now Volgograd, became a turning point in the war's eastern front. The harsh winter conditions and relentless urban combat took a heavy toll on both sides. The German defeat at Stalingrad, a costly victory for the Soviet Union, marked the beginning of Germany's retreat from the east and signaled a turning tide in the war. The Soviet forces, bolstered by this victory, began a relentless push westward. In the Pacific Theater, the Battle of Midway, fought in June 1942, proved to be a decisive naval battle that turned the tide against Japan. This battle showcased the importance of aircraft carriers and naval aviation in modern warfare. The United States Navy, aided by code-breaking intelligence, dealt a crushing blow to the Japanese fleet, sinking 4 Japanese aircraft carriers and effectively ending Japan's offensive capabilities in the Pacific. This victory was a significant morale booster for the Allied forces. The D-Day landings on June 6, 1944, marked another pivotal moment in the war. This operation, known as Operation Overlord, was meticulously planned and executed, involving thousands of ships, aircraft, and soldiers. On this day, Allied forces under the command of General Dwight D. Eisenhower launched the largest amphibious invasion in history, landing on the beaches of Normandy, France. The bravery and determination of the troops were instrumental in overcoming the heavily fortified German defenses. The success of the D-Day landings, achieved at a heavy cost, established a crucial foothold in Western Europe and paved the way for the eventual liberation of France and the defeat of Nazi Germany. This operation demonstrated the power of Allied cooperation and the resolve to restore peace and freedom to Europe. Leaders and tyrants, the faces of conflict. Throughout history, the visage of war has often been defined by the faces of those who lead and those who suffer. In the crucible of World War II, this was especially true. World War II was a conflict shaped by the decisions and actions of numerous individuals, from the highest-ranking political and military leaders to the ordinary soldiers and civilians caught in the crossfire. The war's narrative is a tapestry woven with the threads of countless personal stories, each contributing to the larger picture of global conflict. Among these figures, some emerged as symbols of hope and resistance, while others became synonymous with tyranny and oppression. The dichotomy of heroism and villainy was stark, and the legacies of these individuals continue to shape our understanding of the war. Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of Great Britain during the war's darkest hours, rallied his nation with his unwavering resolve and stirring speeches. His words, filled with defiance and determination, echoed through the hearts of the British people, inspiring them to stand firm against the onslaught. His leadership, marked by courage and determination, provided a beacon of hope during a time of global uncertainty. Churchill's presence on the front lines and his visits to bombed-out cities showcased his solidarity with the common people, reinforcing his image as a steadfast leader. Across the Atlantic, President Franklin D. Roosevelt guided the United States through the Great Depression and into World War II. His fireside chats brought comfort to millions, and his policies helped to stabilize a nation on the brink of collapse. His leadership, characterized by pragmatism and a commitment to international cooperation, proved crucial in mobilizing the resources and manpower of the United States to defeat the Axis powers. Under his guidance, American industry transformed into a war machine, producing the weapons and supplies needed to sustain the Allied effort. On the other side of the conflict stood Adolf Hitler, the dictator of Nazi Germany, whose ideology of hatred and aggression plunged the world into war. His fiery oratory and propaganda galvanized a nation, leading to unprecedented destruction and suffering. Hitler's ruthless ambition, fueled by a warped worldview, led to the deaths of millions and left an indelible stain on human history. The horrors of the Holocaust and the devastation wrought by his regime serve as a grim reminder of the consequences of unchecked power and fanaticism. Joseph Stalin, the dictator of the Soviet Union, played a complex and often contradictory role in World War II. His leadership was marked by both strategic brilliance and brutal repression, making him a figure of both fear and respect. While his regime's brutality and repression were well documented, the Soviet Union under his leadership played a crucial role in defeating Nazi Germany, albeit at a tremendous human cost. The sacrifices of the Soviet people and the pivotal battles on the Eastern Front were instrumental in turning the tide of the war, highlighting the complex interplay of heroism and tyranny in Stalin's legacy.